Hey everybody, my name is Austin Keller, and to demonstrate the understanding step of the umpire process, I am going to review this question on leak code called palindrome number. So to start, I'm just going to read through this problem, make sure I'm following it correctly, and then if I was in an interview, ask any questions if I don't understand anything, or if there's any edge cases. So we're given an integer x, and we're going to return true if x is a palindrome and false otherwise. So if I was in an interview, I would probably ask or clarify that a palindrome is a value, whether it's a string or in this case, integer, it can be read forward and backwards. But they give us examples already, and they make it pretty clear that if this was a program and we're given x equals 121 would be true because you can see that you can read it front and back and it's the same. It's 1, 1, and then in the middle is 2. Conversely, this would not be a palindrome. They add in a negative sign. So if you were to read it front to back, it'd be -1, and then going inward, things wouldn't match up. Likewise with this example, 10, 1 and 0, you can easily see it's not the same front and back. But say that you weren't given these examples, I'd probably ask, well, can it just be one number? So one number is a palindrome. It's just one number that can be, it's just the same thing. I would also ask maybe what they already include is the negative. They might not give that, so I would double check with that. But just to jump right into it, I would clarify the inputs. So it sounds like we just want to do integers, and it can be negative or positive. And the output, and they give that to us specifically. It's going to be true if it's a palindrome or false if it's not a palindrome. So it's going to be a Boolean output, true or false. And to go more into the understanding step, you want to clarify how you get from this input to this output. So palindromes usually are, it's usually a word. So like race car, for example, you can read this front to back. And what I do is I start at the beginning, I go to the end, and then you just go inward and see that each subsequent number on each side is the same. But we're dealing with a number here, and I'm going to just do a random example. Let's do 3, 5, 5, 3. We'll just keep it simple. And it's the same exact process. We're just going to start beginning and start at the end. And this is specific to Python, you can't iterate through an integer. So I think, and I would clarify this with the interviewer if it's allowed, but I would convert this to a string. And then when you're going front and back, that's going to involve looping. So you're going to want to loop through the string. And I won't get too far into the weeds with the implementation aspect of this, but going from the input to the output, if you were looping through this, you could say the first iteration well, it depends on how you implement it, but you could have a variable that tracks the value at the 0 index and then one that tracks the last value. So that would be 3 and 3. And then second iteration would be 5 and 5. So this is a very simple example, but you can see that this is a palindrome because these match up, each n matches up with each other on the iterations of 3, 3, 5, and 5. So an example of a value that wouldn't be a palindrome would be something like 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could go through the iterations again. 1 would be 1 and 4. And then the second iteration would be 2 and 3, and these don't match up. So that's my thought process of going through the understanding step of the umpire method. After this, I would go into the matching and then so on and so forth with the planning and implementation.